Hello and welcome back to my channel. So you're going to carry on with this top 100 greatest games of all time, and we're going to kick off with Conquer, or Conquer 2.0, Conquer 3.0, Conquer Online, or whatever you want to call it. It's on Windows, and I actually don't know when it came out. I'm really not sure about that, so I don't want to lie to you. It's probably about 10 years old, maybe, or something like that. Anyway, this is one of. It is actually probably my first MMO that I ever played, and it sucked me right in. I was a Taoist, or a fire Taoist, and basically it was like RPG online. You go around leveling up, doing stuff, and you can go with other people. It's like all MMOs. If you know MMOs, then you know this game. This was like the most basic version of that. So you start off smacking up pheasants and then move up killing birds, and I think I was doing tombats and these other big birds on Bird Island. I got really far in this game after sinking numerous hours into this game. I think I got to past level 100 actually. I think like level, don't quote me, like 111 maybe. I'll have to go and check into my account. I haven't done it for a long time. I didn't do the rebirth yet. I was just sort of working my way up towards that part. But it's so monotonous, that game. I spent hours and hours just lightning bolting tombats. Literally, that's all I did for days, for months. It took such a long time, but I had like 10 friends that all played this game. So yeah, we'd all go around together as all different parts, and it was all different classes, and we'd all team up together and go and smack up things. Yeah, it was really cool, man. If you haven't played it and you like MMOs, well, give it a good go, because I still rate this game over all the MMOs that I've played since. This game is one that you definitely should have a look at if you're only just getting into them. Anyway, moving on. So next up at 81, we've got Grand Theft Auto 2 on the PS1 or PSX, and this came out in 1999, and this game was awesome, man. It had an excellent soundtrack building off of the first game, because the first game was really good as well, but this is the one I spent the most time on, actually. It introduced gangs into the Grand Theft Auto series, which was really cool. So you could go and work for the 3 different factions and do different jobs in different orders. You weren't restricted to a linear type of gameplay. You could sort of do it in any order you wanted, or not even do it at all. Just go around like I did, just shooting people, riding bikes up massive ramps, and just speeding down that big long freeway that was at the top of one of the maps. Oh, that was quality gaming at its time. And still today, it stands up as one of the best Grand Theft Autos. There is a few Grand Theft Autos I have played, and some of them just didn't quite make the list, but I'm really pleased that this one did, because obviously I played it for a long time. So yeah, we're going to move on now. So next up at number 80, we've got Burnout 2 that came out on the PS2 in 2002. All the twos. This game was one of the fastest games that I've ever played in my life. The only thing faster is coming up on this list a bit later on, so you'll see that later on. But this game was awesome. It was a massive sort of progress on the first Burnout game, and it was the one for me that stands out the most because it was the most arcade-like, and it stayed well far away from simulated controls that other games were doing at the time. And the fact that you could just hold that Burnout button for as long as you can and keep going with your multiplier, that was fucking awesome. If you learnt the tracks, you could get a massive multiplier. I think the most burnouts I ever got on this game was 21 in a row, and I'm fucking awesome. And I played the rest and they just didn't feel the same. The cars just weren't the same. My favourite car in this game was the yellow one with the little blue bit on the front. That was some fucking fast car, and that's the one I got the big burnout score in. So I'd definitely play this game again if I had it, but I actually don't, and I don't know anyone who does. Yeah, I've played a few of the Burnouts since, you know, Burnout Paradise, which was cool, open world, and I can't remember what this other Burnout was called. It's like a spin-off Burnout, but it was like a top-down view, and you had to create crashes and do little scenarios. That was kind of cool, but this one is the definite Burnout. If you haven't played any, then play this one first. So at 79 we have Stuntman on the PS2 that came out in 2002. This game was very sort of unique at the time. There was nothing else like it at all. It was one of the fucking hardest games I've ever played in my life. I think just a whooping and a hollering, you know, I must have tried about 50, probably 100 times. I don't even know. I just know that it took me and my mate Mike a good solid week of playing, you know, at least 12 hours a day just to complete this fucking game. But it was well worth it because, like I said, it'd never been done before, and it was really enjoyable to play. And all the car choices, the scenes, they were just perfect for this sort of game. They took the, you know, the perfect stuntman sequences and let you just act them out, which was really cool. You know, you never got anything like that. I think we got Stuntman 2 on the PS3, but it was just no good. This game was just a one-off as far as I'm concerned. Stuntman 2 doesn't even exist. So yeah, if you haven't played it, give it a good go, because there's nothing else like it. So next up at 78 we got Theme Park on the SNES. It came out in 1994, and me and my sister, we must have spent the whole of 1995 and possibly beyond playing this fucking game, because it was so awesome. You could sell your park in the end, save your little password, crack on from where you left off last time. It was a very unique experience. I think this was sort of my introduction to that sort of building type of game. This and SimCity on the same platform. That was sort of my introduction into these games, and the reason why I fell in love with them actually, and the reason I'm looking forward to giving Planet Coaster a good go. I haven't started it yet because I've got too much of a back catalogue to play, and I reckon it would probably end up on this list if I give it a good play. So next time I do these lists, it probably will be on there, along with a few others that didn't quite make it this time round, or some that I haven't finished. But anyway, back to the game. It had a very sort of evil theme tune that just never stopped. It was relentless. But moving on to the mechanics of the game, was pretty smart. You could put extra salt on your fries, make your guests more thirsty. But my favourite thing about the game, one thing that me and my sister did over and over again, when the guests turn up to the park, put the price full whack, and as soon as they're in, put it back down again to attract more. Yeah, so if you have never played that game, that's the way to play it, because there was no other way. So we've made it to number 77 on our list, and I'm proud to say at number 77 is Cars 2. Now, I played this on the PS3 and the Nintendo Wii in 2011, and it was one of those games that I didn't expect much of, and it delivered on a massive scale. I mean, the video here showing the tutorial was just an amazing tutorial. It showed you exactly how to play this game and get a feel of the game before you've even started, which these days is very rare in a tutorial. In a tutorial these days, you usually already started the game. So I really enjoyed that part of the game, and it was just one of those games where it was sort of, you know, a Mario Kart rip-off, but a fucking good one, because of the controls and the things that you could do and the difference between the two titles. The fact that you could drive backwards as well, that was fucking awesome. Pick up some rockets, turn backwards, start driving, shoot your mate in the face. That is awesome. for that alone, I think it deserves this spot on this list, just for the backwards driving. And the fact that you can go up on 2 wheels and stuff like that as well. Yeah, that's a good game. And that's why it's on this spot. Moving on. So at 76, we've got Train Fever, which came out in 2014 on Windows, and this is a very unique game. It's like the sim building games, apart from you don't actually build, you're sort of in charge of the transport empire. It reminds me, and I think it gives a nod to the old Transport Tycoon series and the other similar games that were around back then, actually, because they're the only ones that are anything like this game. I loved building all the rail tracks from top to bottom of the screen, and even though there was so many things that you couldn't do, like, you know, lay the track across I think it was the road across the track, but you could lay track across the road and you couldn't cross tracks. It presented a number of mathematical issues that I found fun to get around. There is a new one now, Transport Fever, which I've spent a little bit on, but not enough to sort of make the list. I've only just sort of made it to the 1870s in that game, whereas this game I took it all the way and you know, filled a small map completely, because a large map just slows down your computer too much. But yeah, it was fun playing with all the mods and stuff in there as well. So yeah, big shout out to all them guys, and also a shout out to Nerdcubed and Colonel Failure. Actually, they taught me how to play this game, because I tried it for a little while, but I just couldn't get the hang of the industry, and those guys explained it well. So yeah, try it if you ain't. Moving on to number 75. So here you have it, Wacky Races on the PS2, came out in 2000. Now this game is bleeding awesome. It's another Mario Kart spin-off that I rate better than Mario Kart. Simply because of it's Wacky Races, it's old school, it's got a brilliant art style to it, and the weapons as well in there were very unique. Sort of every vehicle had sort of 5 or 6 weapons to choose from, but you could only choose 3 at the beginning of each stage, and you had to collect the coins in order to be able to use them, which was just another take on the game, but it was just brilliant. And I remember it was similar to Diddy Kong Racing in the fact that you could go back and do the levels, and you know, you have to collect a certain amount of things and still win to sort of pass the level. It was another game that could have lasted, you know, millions more hours than it actually did, but I'm glad I played it, because I'll definitely play it again. I can't remember where my copy of that went actually, so I doubt I'll ever play it again, but it was brilliant reminiscing about the game. And if you've never played it and you've got it or whatever, just stick it in and give it a go, because it's 4-player as well, which not many games are nowadays, you know. So the next game on this list is Red Faction 2. Now this came out on Windows in 2003. I played it first on the PS2 though, I think. I'm not sure about that, so I haven't added the PS2 onto this list, because I spent most of my time actually in the Windows version, literally running through this game over and over and over again. It was one of those games I could complete, yay! And once I did complete it, I found out there was cheats as well, so I went back with the cheats, you know, and done it with the God mode and all that stuff, so that was pretty fun too. But one thing that struck me about the whole Red Faction series, well, up until number 2, was the fact that, like, you could just break down the walls. You don't have to use any doors or anything. You could just break through the wall, and the vehicles that you could get in as well, and just, you know, those mining vehicles that would just mine your way through the levels. They were cool. And number 2 just took number 1 and smashed it out of the water, you know, added a whole lot more vehicles that you could pilot and be the gunner of. Actually, you were the gunner on a ship on a couple of the levels, from what I remember as well, and going through as one of the tanks as well. That was wicked, man. There's never been a game like it. Red Faction Guerrilla I played, and I played a little bit of Armageddon, but they were totally different games. They weren't, for me, they weren't Red Faction. So that brings us to the end of this section. I will see you next time.